I'd like to call the meeting to order, the City of Fraser Zoning Board of Appeals for March 5th at 7:03 PM. If you all please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Clerk. Okay.
Mr. Burley. Trementi.
Here.
Farina.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Menendez.
Present.
Stasic.
Here.
Wall.
Here.
There is a quorum, Chairman.
Okay, before we go any further, I'd like to ask that we excuse Mr. Burley. He's out of town on business. Is there a motion to that effect?
You just made it.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Approval of the agenda for March 5th. Is there any changes that we want to make on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Approval of the agenda. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah. Formal chairman statement by the chair. Petitioners and members of the audience.
Minutes.
What? Oh, I'm sorry, missed one. Okay, approval of the minutes for the January 15th,
I would
26.
I would like to approve the minutes with, on page 2, motion by Menendez, supported by Green. That should say zoning board of appeals as opposed to planning commission. And on the following page for 8B, the motion maker was Roseanne or Menendez, Menendez, and the second was Emma, or Stasic,
Those changes have been made already.
and they've already been made.
Okay,
From what you're looking at.
all right, I'll take a motion on that then. Anybody?
I'm the motion maker.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Thank you. Before I go into the formal statement, for the first time, we want to welcome the head of our building department here. Appreciate it. We're looking forward to having you here and improving communications on the action items. So thank you. Petitioners and members of the audience, the Zoning Board of Appeals, as hearing created, is a body of limited powers. Where there is a practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship in the way of carrying out the strict letter of the Fraser's Code, the board shall have the power in passing upon appeals to vary or to modify any of the provisions of the code relating to the construction, structural changes in equipment or alterations of buildings or structures so that the spirit of the code shall be observed, public safety secured, and substantial justice done. No variance in the provisions or requirements of the code shall be authorized by the board unless the board finds evidence that all of the following facts and conditions exist. A, that there are exceptional or extraordinary circumstances or conditions applying to the property in suggestion as to the intended use of the property that do not apply generally to other properties in the same zoning district. That such a variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right, similar to that possessed by others, properties in the same district and in the same vicinity. The possibility of increased financial return shall not of itself be deemed sufficient to warrant a variance. That C, that the authorizing of such a variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property and will not materially impair the intent and the purpose of the Fraser Code or the public interest. D, that the condition or situation of the specific piece of property or the intended use of the property for which the variance is sought is not of general or recurrent a nature as to make reasonably practicable the formulation of general regulations for such condition or situation. Having said that, we'll go on to the next item on the agenda, which is old business and postponed cases, and there are none. So new business for the board, and that is ZBA 26-01, 34860 Utica Road, Birdies and Brews. Is there somebody here for that? If you could identify yourself for the record and your address?
Jonathan Giuliano, 15485 Luxembourg.
Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that along with the board who serves here, we have August Gitchling, who is the city clerk, Lauren Sayers, which is the city planner, and Alexander, I can't say it. Ishan, thank you, who is with Ron Silly, our city attorney. And of course, Mr. Logan, who is our building official. All right. Lauren, you want to brief us on this?
Thank you, Chair Farina. So this site is located near the intersection of 15 Mile and Utica Road. The applicant is planning to use the building for indoor golf simulators, indoor mini golf, as well as having a bar. So no food, just drinks. So this use would be, special land use, so that he would have to get a special land use from Planning Commission as well before opening. So I just wanted to note that. So tonight, the applicant's requesting two variances. The first one is going to be a parking variance, so to provide 23 spaces when 66 are required. And the second one is to allow indoor commercial recreation use within 100 feet of residential district. So to the rear is RH, there's our multifamily in the rear there. So we also want to note that the applicant would be seeking reduction to 198 people for his maximum capacity. So how that process works is the building official does have the authority to modify maximum occupancies. So that would be something that could be done administratively afterwards. I did discuss with the building official if he thinks it's feasible, and he says that he does think it's feasible. He just wants to see kind of narrative on why that reduction would be sought. So we also provided some additional parking details from the neighbor to the north, which is that Signature Square Plaza. Again, this is not definitively the requirement, as some of the requirements require knowledge of maximum occupancies or, how many chairs are there in the salon. So it's an estimate, an approximation. Based on the ordinance standards, it does require more parking that's being provided, as we can see, although in actual essence of the use, a lot of these are probably over in the standard, like the State Farm requiring, 8 spaces, but it's a single office, so I would find it unlikely there'd be 8 people for that at any given time. But things like that in the Domino's mostly carry out. But that's just kind of context, as the applicants indicated interest in sort of shared parking with that neighbor. But we also would note that, if that is something that, we proceed with, we would have to verify the actual number of parking required, the number of parking that's there, because we wouldn't be able to kind of offer or do that shared parking if there's a deficiency in that neighboring lot. So in reviewing the standards, the 4 standards, the first one, there's exceptional extraordinary circumstances. The applicant noted the irregular parcel shape, constrained lot width and depth, as well as building placement. And so, this building was originally used for warehousing. It was used for an industrial type use. At some point, it's rezoned to commercial general and not industrial. So it's likely most commercial uses would require a variance for parking in some form, unless they, demolished half the building, which I wouldn't anticipate any kind of business looking to do. So we do feel like that is an extraordinary circumstance that does apply to this property. Additionally, for the next one, the variance is necessary for the preservation and enjoyment of a substantial property right. So the applicant provided that the amusement and recreation uses are permitted in commercial general. However, property cannot be utilized for that purpose with meeting the parking requirements. So it's, again, similar to kind of that first point of, just the nature of the site and what the site does present, a challenging circumstance for what it's currently zoned as. We also feel regarding the buffering variance that there are several other uses in the area that are commercial and very similar that are also abutting residential, so total soccer being one of those. That authorizing such variance will not be of substantial detriment to the adjacent property, will not materially impair the intent and purpose. The applicant notes, properties along Utica, major commercial corridor near 15 Mile. Additionally, the applicant notes that they would likely operate below maximum occupancy and are pursuing shared parking agreements. Generally, again, we agree that it does not impair the intent of the ordinance, as it's an appropriate use in the commercial general district. Certainly the site is tricky for any business to build on. So I think there is a concern of lack of parking negatively impacting, especially with the shared parking lot with the building to the south. But we do believe that this can be mitigated with proper signage to direct traffic, because that alley is likely going to have to be one way at a time, as well as the utilization of Signature Square's parking. And then regarding the buffering, we don't believe that granting this would negatively impact, as there are other uses that are currently indoor recreation adjacent to residential that are not negatively impacting the residential. And that the condition or situation is specific to the piece of property and will not create a general rule. Again, similar to the first two about it being, formerly industrial, it is, the existing building is different from most of the other commercial general buildings, and the site is also unique to that. So we do agree with the assessment that we don't feel it's so general or recurrent that it would create a rule. So, I think we certainly want to, allow the applicant time after this to provide details on how the building will be used and how he plans to mitigate any circulation or parking issues with the business model. But, from our assessment, we do feel that conditioned upon that the maximum occupancy is lowered to 198, that shared parking of 15 or more spaces can be recorded, and that there is adequate signage for vehicular circulation on site, granting the parking variance. And then we also believe that the standards are met for that residential buffering variance as well, and recommend granting that as well. Happy to answer any questions.
Hey, are there any questions for the planner? Member Menendez.
On here, you have 15 parking spaces would be shared. How do we come up with the number of 15 if they need 66 and he only has 23?
So that number isn't intended to get up to that 66. It's just supposed to be, and to clarify, it wouldn't be less of a variance because of it. It's more so a condition that zoning could apply that would make you feel more comfortable with granting the variance to have that option. So it's not, I don't know, it's kind of an odd thing, but it's
I
a
guess what I'm trying to figure is if, for his space alone, not taking into consideration of Vic side or the arcade side, what I see here is only 14 in the front and 9 in the rear.
That's correct.
So the minimum, what would the minimum, if you're saying it's not 66, what would the minimum requirement be if he were to keep everything in his parcel without being shared?
Well, the minimum required, if the occupancy is lowered to 198, is 66.
Okay, so that's our bottom line, 66 at 198.
Well, to meet, if they met that, he wouldn't be here seeking a variance.
Correct.
Right.
So 66 is our number, and we're going down
For,
from
for
there.
compliance.
Correct, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anybody? I have a question, Lauren, on the parking spots out front. The one spot up close to the building is barrier-free. What does that mean, barrier-free?
That means that it'll have to be ADA van accessible.
And then how would they get out of that spot with another parking spot right here?
Back out and then turn.
Well, would the barrier-free be at an angle? I'm trying to figure out a way that you put a van in there. You can't put it straight in and try to turn it out. If it's at an angle, we could possibly recognize that.
Like, just back.
Yeah, like
and
how
then-
much space is after the 10th spot?
Sure. Right.
Right.
Right here.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's the spot. I believe that's the striping for the access aisle.
Okay.
So the barrier-free would be one of these, probably this one.
Well, if it's barrier-free, doesn't it have to be almost 2 spots?
Sorry, I'm not sure I'm following the,
If it's, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. If it's
Handicap.
handicap or a van, okay, you have to have loading and unloading on the van on either side, right?
not either side. Just has to be wider than
Okay.
typical.
All right, so you could use part of that barrier-free area as the unloading for the handicap spot.
I understood that, how I understood it, and if I'm incorrect, the applicant can correct me, but I understood that that was the access aisle, and then one of the spots adjacent to it would be the actual handicap spot.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you. Does the applicant have anything to add to,
There was actually,
I'm sorry,
there's actually
your
a,
name, sir?
Jonathan, sorry. There's a newer drawing out that actually is, can I bring this up to you?
Yeah.
This just shows, this is the current parking lot, and that's how it's planning on staying. That'll
The scale?
answer your question as far as like the barrier free. I have 5 of them. Thank you. So that's
Here. Oh.
That's how it is currently.
You guys got one? Joe, here. Oh, look at hers.
Sorry, Emma.
So the plan was just to restripe the existing in the front. I just got that over yesterday.
So you're showing 11 and 3 in the front, correct?
Yes. So that's how it currently is.
Without including the handicap?
The 11 and 3 does include, yes.
Okay, how about in the rear?
There's 9 back there.
Is that just a wall there? Because there was no way we could, they had it blocked off?
In the
There
back.
was no way we could go up that aisle and to the rear to see the rear? Is there a wall there
In the back there?
that separates
Yeah, yes.
you from the residential?
Yes,
Is it a 6-foot wall?
yes.
Lauren, I don't see any dumpster on here or trash.
No, there's not currently any dumpster in.
Okay. How do you plan on getting trash out?
It'll probably have to use the very bottom spot. I believe that was, came back from,
Yeah, the city engineer noted that it looked like the bottom spot was being used for the dumpster right there. So there's actually 24 spots shown on this without that. So that
Bottom spot, Lauren, can you point? Right there?
this one. So there's actually 24 spots shown, and so without that spot, that's where that 23 came from. So it was already considered.
Lauren, does he require a structure around that dumpster?
He would require, yeah, that would be screened.
Okay.
So that would be addressed during that special land use, along with the site plan that gets approved with the special land use.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted to add, sir?
I do have the parking agreement with me, if you wanted to see that.
I think the attorney wants to see that.
We'll go through this and then, you know, email.
Right?
I had a question for Mr. Jill. When I was out at the site, along side on the north, I believe, on the north side of your building, they have all the parking blocks. How would one, when I was coming down the street, I missed your address. I was trying to find it, the print was really small. So I had to pull into Vic's, turn around, come back out again, and come back in. But if I were coming to your place right now, probably, quite honestly, and I was coming down once I knew where it was, with those blocks there, if you were filled up there, I would probably take the path of least resistance and park right adjacent to you. There's so much open parking there, I don't know how, if you have a shared parking agreement to the north, people are gonna know that and observe that, as opposed to taking the path of least resistance and parking to the south of your building in the adjacent property owners' allocated parking spots. That's my concern with it, because I've seen it happen in other developments where people normally do that. They just come in like Hockey Land, can have parking on the far north, in northwest, but everybody will park in the front over by the plaza and take up their parking spots, and they don't have any. That's what I want to avoid. That's my big concern. I know have a small parcel, I know your parking is limited, but my concern is voting for something that's going to have a negative impact on the adjacent property owner without an agreement, a parking agreements in place that stay actually with the land. Because we've seen before where people have made an agreement and then they just arbitrarily decided they don't want to do it anymore, and there's no agreement, and you're minus X amount of parking spaces. So that's my concern on that.
Yeah, I understand. And the biggest thing here is going to be signage and making people aware of where we want them to park. So using our website, using signs, and pointing them in the right direction of overflow, because I don't want our overflow to go into the south businesses and taking up any of those parking spots. So signage is going to be a huge factor. And as far as like, because I know like Vic's Diner, they do takeout, they use a lot of that parking. So I've spoke with him about putting up some signs for him saying, you know, from 7 to 3 every day, this is Vic's Diner's parking spot, you know, so I don't want to take any spots away from businesses surrounding me. I just want to point the people in the right direction where we want them to park. And the business is going to be, a lot of it's going to be based off of memberships, so returning customers. So the more they come, they're going to know where to go, where we want them to park.
What are your hours of operation?
We don't have set hours right now. I'm thinking around opening at 10 or 11 o'clock and staying open till 10, 11 o'clock. That would be, summer hours would kind of diminish a little bit. But it's something that we need to kind of see what's right and wrong, you know, as far as the hours. I'm not planning on staying open till 2 in the morning.
Would you host parties like Top Golf, where a bunch of people come in and you have a whole group of people where they make reservations, and where you have multiple people coming in multiple vehicles?
So most of our business is going to be based off of reservations. The mini golf, the simulators are all going to be based off of reservations. So people won't linger around for 3 or 4 hours. And we have 5 bays of simulators, which most people, when they come, it's between 4 to 6 people per bay. And then the mini golf, I assume that it's going to take about 30 to 40 minutes for 4 people to play mini golf.
So you can do mini golf in addition to the bays? So you could
yeah.
have 20 people doing the simulators in the bays, and then you could have the mini golf.
Mm-hmm.
No. Joe?
You serving alcohol there?
Yes,
Liquor,
yes,
liquor, and beer?
beer, yes,
Wine.
yes.
Right now.
And you don't want them to stay and drink?
Do I want them to stay and drink? I want them to drink while they're golfing. I actually was looking at making the bar a little shorter, but I don't want to be a bar. I want to be a golf where there's some, you know, you can drink and play golf.
Okay. Okey-doke. Joseph?
Mentioned just earlier about the agreement with the strip mall, with the restaurants. So what's the scoop on that?
So the owner of the plaza has agreed to let me use his property as overflow, but I've took it upon myself to talk to the owner of Vic's and Encore to let them know what I was planning on doing, and they both have no problem.
This doesn't have any issues with it?
No.
And insurance company, well, he's further down.
Yeah, so the reason I went to those 2 businesses, because they're the larger businesses in there, and they're open. Well, they bring in the most people over there, but they're also the closest to my building.
And we got that on record?
What's that,
Your agreement?
I have them right here. I can email them over to Lauren.
Yeah, we would still, it would need to be in a form acceptable to the attorney, filed with the Register of Deeds, and we would first have to, well, I would have to go into the salon and count how many chairs so I can get an accurate parking count. Same thing with Encore, so might take a sec because we need to make sure that it's not, there's not a parking deficiency in the square before we could move forward with that, so.
Scott?
Going back to the bar space, are you looking to try to limit them sitting, versus playing? Or are you going to use that as like a queue? If they're waiting for, the mini putt-putt, or if they're ahead of schedule and then going to hit one of the bays? I'm just trying to figure out, how many people, are you kind of anticipating, in a given time period? Because that will directly impact how much parking space.
Yeah, so, I basically was planning to use the bar as a waiting area. If someone's waiting for their bay, you can sit and have a drink. But as far as like, sitting down and coming to the bar for, 3 or 4 hours, that's not my intent. But like I said, everything's based off a reservation. So I'll have a good idea of how many people are going to be in there. Honestly, I don't plan on, there's 30 people in the bays, between the 5 bays. I don't plan on having more than 80 to 100 people in there at a time. That's my intent because I want to turn people over as quick as I can.
My second question, relative to the tight drive to the back parking spots, I'm curious if that would either deter people from driving back there because of how tight, because when you see that, how wide it is, you're almost going to assume that it's a one-way. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily like going down a one-way, especially if it's getting dark. So you may actually have less of those spots being occupied where the overflow, kind of like what was highlighted earlier, could very well bleed into your neighbor to the south. So I don't know if there was any other mechanism that you might be able to do to further deter, if there is some type of, barrier mechanism, but I don't know if that gets into some other type of ordinances, that would stop people from actually going to the south.
So the alleyway does have plenty of lighting down there, so people won't be like all nervous driving down there. And we will have a yield sign on both sides, so people know that we do want them to come down. But I do plan on using those back spots. All the employees will park back there, so those will be the first ones in there. So, and like I said, we plan to have memberships and returning customers, and so a month or two into it, people will know where we want them to park, and
Okay.
that's going to be our I think it'll be a hurdle, but I think it's something that we want to push, with signage and on our website.
How many employees would take spots in the back?
On a busy day, we probably want 4 employees.
The wall leading to the back, are you gonna post some no parking signs so they don't park on the side of the road?
In the alley?
Yeah.
Yes.
You are gonna post them, because there's not showing here any.
Yeah, there's not enough. I think we're a few feet short of having that be a two-way. Is it 20 feet or is it 24? One or the other. But
19
yeah,
and a
we're
half.
short of being a two-way.
But even though.
Yeah,
Even though it'd
yeah.
be two-way.
Yeah, you can't park on.
On that side, so you are gonna post some signs indicating that there's no parking against the law.
Yes.
Lauren, I have a question for you, if I may. In your analysis, you showed how many spots are required for the the neighborhood shopping plaza up there, and you say there's 155 spots required, and there are only 130 spots?
Again, that's based on using, aerial imagery and some assumptions because I didn't go into every shop to count chairs or things like that. So
Oh, by square footage for these type of things, that's,
some of them though are, number of washing machines or it's by number of first three spaces for the first two chairs plus 1.5 space for each additional chair or maximum occupancy. So some of them are estimates. That's why I'm stating we'd have to double check to make sure that, they could only have a shared parking agreement for the space is deficient.
up here on the north here. Could they park a car lengthwise along those barriers?
That's not their lot, so.
I understand that.
I think there is parking already going, not parallel, but 90 degree.
They have dumpsters. Some of those businesses have some dumpsters back there, but there's roughly 30 spaces facing my building on that side.
Okay. Ms. Menendez.
Do they plan on leaving those parking blocks along your side there? The big white parking
We're at,
all along your, all along the north of your, is this thing on?
This comes out this way.
This way? I don't know how to use this thing. I need to go along his building.
This is right here.
Okay, where Vic's is, right there. Along there, there's those big white, huge cement blocks.
there's a,
So you would have to come out your driveway, go out onto Utica, then back into that parking.
back into
You
this.
can't go from one side to the other, like between your property and the arcade.
no.
Okay, so those are going to remain in place.
I don't think would want to get into trying to
Okay.
do a,
All right. In terms of your parking agreements, is Vic's going to share his parking with him, or is it the plaza?
the plaza.
And who owns the plaza?
The name of the business is, it's just 1615 Mile LLC. There's-
Okay, so who is the
Neighborhood.
person that would be signing the agreement for that property, because it would be recorded against the property? Am I correct, Counselor?
So what you would probably need is a resolution from that LLC, if it's a single-member LLC or a multi-member LLC, that whoever's signing on behalf of the LLC has authorization to do that, so.
The agreement.
Yes, yep.
Any other questions for the applicant? Is there any public to be heard? Anybody wants to speak? Sir, could you sit back in the chairs and,
Thank you.
now, go ahead. Go ahead. When you address this up here, you're to address us and not the applicant, and all questions are to us, okay? Hi. Can you identify yourself for the record, please?
Kaliba, and then I own the Free Play Pinball Arcade. So my main concerns are the parking, and Roseanne kind of was in the same mind frame as me. So it's not a smooth transition from Vic's lot to that lot as it is ours. And I've actually walked that a few times to go get food from Vic's for my staff and myself. So you got to go up a curb, and I'm not sure. I think a little bit of grass or stones or something. But anyways, it's a pretty large parking block curb. And then the parking in the back, it's pretty narrow. That's especially making that turn if there's a dumpster there. And then a lot of that's going to be used for staff. My main concern is, just for the record, I'm not ever wanting to damper anybody's light as far as a business. But this is 1/3, less than 1/3 of the parking that would be needed. That's a big gap. I mean, I think it'd be a different conversation for me if it was, okay, 45 and I needed 60. Now, another issue that I have is this agreement that he's going to furnish you all with the building owner and Vic's. That's fine. I don't think that's justifiable, but I think that document holds no weight. And the reason being is, what if that building owner sells that building? What if Vic's, I'm not saying he is, but he's been there a long time. He's the owner, he's been cooking, and he's probably going to cook for a while. But what if he decides he wants to sell that business? The new owners, they're not going to have to honor that agreement, am I correct?
I would defer to legal.
It depends on what the form of the agreement is. If it's, for example, like an easement, then it would potentially run with the land, and it wouldn't matter who owns it. If it's a lease, then it's just a lease between the different parties. So
Okay.
there's no yes or no answer, I guess, to it necessarily.
Please let
It's a
that,
shared parking agreement, and it's with the county registered. It runs with the land.
If it gets recorded and it states in it that it runs with the land, then yes, yep.
okay.
An easement.
And then I just wanted to make sure that we all received, I submitted Jay Caldwell. You may know Jay. You all may know Jay, but he's the building owner, and he wasn't able to make it. So he sent me an email, which I had sent to you, and then he has his contact information on there if you have any questions. But he shares the same concern. So I also did the, where you could see the actual email up in the top in the header. So that's the text from his email. And then I had submitted, regarding the appeal, an opening statement. I was told I didn't really have to go through and read it all if I submitted it, and then points 1 through 4, and then closing. Have you all been able to review that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's about, all I have to say on that. I just think that for that type of business, it's not like a pickup and drop off, and like what was there before was the social services, where people dropped their family members or whoever they were caring for or monitoring that day off, and they did activities, and then every once in a while, see, the most they really had there was pickups, drop-offs, and a few vans, I think maybe 3, and they would take that group. I'm not sure what they do, but they came in, and we let them come in and hang out once in a while. They take and go do stuff with them, whether it's this activity, that activity, a little shopping, go to the mall. It wasn't an entertainment type of venue. Recreation was the word I'm looking for, with that amount of traffic. I mean, I can basically see, basically what I would, for a successful business, what I would do in business. We utilize all of our spots, especially June, July, and August are our slowest months. And I see that business model, and it was actually stated here that it's the slower months, and it kind of follows the same. So the busier months for that business type is going to be the same busy months for us, like families and stuff. They're outside having a good time in the cold and rain. In the winter, they come in. And it seems like that would be the same for golf. People will be a little more outside June, July, and August, and then maybe start migrating. The colder it gets, the more they come inside. So I just see a parking being a very big issue. And another thing is, as we all know, I don't know the numbers, there's probably a study out there, but how many people actually pay attention to signs? And then some do it without knowing. You know, I'm not saying everybody does it just to be convenient for themselves, but when it's raining out or it's snowing out and it's dark out, I mean, I think we all could agree that people don't really quite follow signs as they should. That's all I wanted to say.
Member Menendez.
What are your hours of operation?
Thursday through Friday, we are open 4 to midnight. Saturday, noon to midnight. Sunday, noon to 8.
Okay, I'm sorry, Saturday midnight?
Yep, noon to midnight, yes. Now, Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and times before those general hours of operation that I just stated, they're reserved for private parties. And I'm sure you guys, like, when I was here before, like, all the faces are kind of different now, so I'm not too sure if you're familiar with us, but we do a lot of stuff with the schools, and they come by, you know, they come by 80, 100 at a time during the day, for the most part. Some of them do like 6 to 9, but for the most
You're
part,
busy and you're utilizing inside. Would you say that most of your parking spaces are utilized, or?
oh, absolutely.
They're in the back, or are they even shifting to the left to the new property owners?
No, I just took some photos. Fridays and Saturdays are our busiest. Saturdays are busiest of them all. I think we had 4 spaces left, you know, on average, because, you know, one pulls out, one pulls in.
And nobody shifted over to the other building?
Nobody shifted over to the other building. Now, I'm not saying that it's never happened. I don't know. Nobody has, when I went out there to take pictures, there was only 4 left. I do have those. I could submit those, and there was none over there.
Yeah, because like you were just saying, you know, people will tend to, instead of walking all the way to the rear and the back, catch it up front.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I mean,
I-
and I would. I mean, I get it.
Businesses.
Yeah, thank you. And then, you know, going to VIX, I mean, that's all nice, and that's very nice of the building owner to offer that, but I just don't see that holding much weight if things change. And I think a lot of it's, you know, convenience, you know, going through that process, like it's, you know, you're going to grab fruit that's easier here or a little tougher over there, you know, so, but I happen to, you know, I think we all have the same concerns. I just think being that it's the amount of spaces that are actually for that site to the amount that would kind of be needed are substantially different. And that's the big issue.
Thank you. Anybody else want to be heard? Hi.
Hi.
And you are?
My name is Christine Velasco. I'm the owner of Roughing It Pet Resort. We're attached to the building. Roughing It Pet Resort, we're attached to the building to the south of where the, what we're here for. My concern, we've been there for 10 years, almost 10 years, and we share the parking lot with Free Play and the other businesses that are in the building. I am concerned about the parking. My business runs from, we get there at 6:30 in the morning, and we're there till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. We are also there on the weekends through sporadic times. I have 5 spots allocated with a sign out front for just parking for my customers. My business is people come in, they drop off, they leave, all throughout the day. When Free Play has a party going on, they do use the parking spots, right? Our lot is full. 9 times out of 10, most of our spots are empty. People do not follow signs. Okay, they don't. We have come upon an agreement that he makes sure that during my hours, that nobody's parking in those spots. He may have somebody go out there telling them they can't park in those spots to park in the other spots that are already open. They do not follow signs. Now, after my hours, the signs say till 7 o'clock, they can use them. They can park there. On the weekends, they can park there. I just need to have accessibility for my customers to be able to come in, drop their dogs off, not have to worry about it, not have to, in the rain, the snow, they're taking these 100-pound dogs, back and forth. They need accessibility right there. I don't want to have to be concerned about another business coming in and utilizing those spaces. The times that he's saying that he's going to be there and their busy times are my busy times as well. I am very concerned about that. I do not want to lose customers because they do not have any place to park to bring their dogs in. I've worked very hard to get our business going, and I do not want to lose customers because of that. I have had customers come in and complain. Originally, when Free Play, excuse me, first opened, and we had a little issue with the parking, I did have people coming in and complaining about it. And I got with Joe, and we worked it out, and everything is fine, like I said. But I am concerned. He's saying 180 to 100 people. There is no parking. And that wall, I'm right next to it. I have a little gate that I can see through. The cars coming up and down there, there's no room. It is definitely one way. As far as that back area, for them to turn around, good luck. You get a big truck back there or something, it's not going to be good. They're going to come over to our parking lot. I am very concerned. I don't want to have to move my business out of Fraser, and I'm afraid that I may have to. So,
And when you said that they can use my parking spots, who is they?
Free Play and the other businesses that are there in our building.
Okay.
And the name of
Anything
your
else?
business again? The name of your business again?
Roughing It Pet Resort.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Vito Manzella. I'm a Michigan court officer. I work out of St. Clair County, Oakland County, Macomb, and Wayne County. My main office is at 34830 Fraser. I have the suite upstairs. I have a satellite office in Mount Clemens. Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 p.m., I have 5 girls that work in the office, so that's 5 parking spots. When I get back, that's my truck, that's 6 of us. We have approximately 15 to 18 process servers that come and go all the time. They don't stay there long, but we got to park. They got to grab their work. They got to go. When we have evictions, like in St. Clair County, they'll come early in the morning. They'll park their cars there. We carpool. So there's spots that are going to be taken. Also, I just want to remind everybody that Jazzercise just left. I don't know who's going to move into the other spot that's open. We're all going to have to, who knows who's going to be in there, who knows what kind of parking they're going to need or anything like that. I wish the gentleman the best from the bottom of my heart. But I have to watch out for my business. And so do these people here. So what I'm trying to say is basically, I'm not going to jeopardize what I've been working on for the last 25 years to try to share parking or anything like that. And like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I wish the gentleman nothing but good luck. So something's got to meet someplace, But besides that, thank you and have a good evening. Yeah.
He's in the same building as the arcade is.
Yeah.
Joseph.
That's what I was going to say. Where you located at? I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, there's upstairs. There's 3 suites. I got 2 suites. Jazzercise had 1 suite. Jazzercise left.
Where now?
At the arcade.
okay.
Yeah, I'm upstairs. Yep.
Because never seen a sign saying the state of Michigan or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I don't advertise it for protection, security, you know what I'm saying? So, we had several incidents when people come over there that Fraser Police had to come out. So, yeah, I don't advertise it.
So you're sharing your parking with Free Play.
We're free play and also the dog care center.
And you got your agreement there.
Beg your pardon?
And you got the agreements and everything.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, we'll lease something, yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
How long you been there?
I've been there, be 2 years.
Is your mic on?
Oh, thank you, I'm sorry. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay.
All right, all set? Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Thank you.
Anybody else want to talk from the audience? Anybody? Well, then I'm going to close public comment. Bring it back up to the board.
I got something.
Yes, Joseph.
City Attorney, on the opening statement from Joseph Cabala, what's your take on point 2?
What does that mean, Joe?
Point 2, Michigan law requires the board to consider harm to neighboring property owners. On
So it says,
on
your board applies the dimensional variances. Granting a variance must do substantial justice not only to the applicant, but to the other property owners in the district. If you look at your ordinance, and I believe Lauren and Frank have both read this. Here we go.
C, section 32228, will not be a substantial detriment to adjacent property. Is that the clause you're looking for?
Yeah, I'm looking at. Right. Yep, you're exactly right. It's subsection C. It says, and like I said, Frank read it, Lauren read it. It says, so to read the beginning part, so you have the context for C, it says, no variance in the provisions or requirements of this chapter shall be authorized by the board unless the board finds evidence that all of the following facts and conditions of A through D exist, or E or F exist independently. And letter C is that authorizing such variance will not be of substantial detriment to adjacent property and will not materially impair the intent and purpose of this chapter or the public interest. So yes.
So the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, as a requirement for granting variances, requires to find practical difficulty, and part of that, one of those standards, is ensuring that, substantial justice to the applicant and adjacent property owners, and that's what's mirrored in our ordinance for the standards. So, it is something we reviewed against, and, obviously, Mr. Kaliba is saying that he feels that it's not being met, whereas the applicant is saying that he feels it is being met, so. And it's the Zoning Board of Appeals' job to decide which it is.
Right, here's what the statute says about that substantial justice done language. It says, the Zoning Board of Appeals, as herein created, this is your ordinance 32-228, by the way. Zoning Board of Appeals, as herein created, is a body of limited powers where there are practical difficulties or unnecessary hardships in the way of carrying out the strict letter of the chapter. The board shall have the powers in passing upon appeals to vary or modify any of the provisions of this chapter relating to the construction, structural changes in equipment, or alteration of building or structures, so that the spirit of this chapter shall be observed, public safety secured, and substantial justice done, which, Mr. Farina, you read that,
Opening statement.
yeah, probably about 45 minutes ago, give or take? Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So, Counselor, he gave you a shared parking agreement, right?
I don't have it. I said he'll send it to us.
So that is not, the last time I approved something on the IFCOM, it is 5 years later, and it was not taken care of. So personally, I'm not, I would like to see that in place before I even consider anything else.
Okay. So, you would like to see it in place. So you want to see the final version of the shared parking agreement before you agree to approve the request, is what you're saying?
And I want it to go to the county.
You want to have it recorded
Yeah.
prior to approving? Ooh. Well, I'd have to think about that one. I don't know about recording it before you approve the variance. I mean, we could, I guess what you could do, so I think what you did before, and you correct me if I'm wrong, because if it was 5 years ago, I wasn't here for that. My guess is you probably said approve upon the condition of they give us a shared use parking agreement that then has to be approved by the city attorney. And then, once that's done, then it's approved.
And it lingered for 2 years before they got it to you.
Okay,
And then a year for you to get it back to them. And then another 2 years for them to put it into file.
okay. Well, I guess that is one way of doing it. The only thing I'll say is that obviously you want to make it a condition to anything, one way or another, that the attorney's office looks at it, so they're not just kind of doing whatever they want. I guess one way you could handle it is, instead of saying we approve it conditioned upon that shared use parking agreement being approved by city council, you could,
City council.
or I'm sorry, when I say city council, I mean attorney council. Yeah. You could postpone the hearing and have them give that to us, and we could adjourn it until, such time as we've been able to review it. I'm not sure if that satisfies the issue that you had before, but I'm just saying maybe it's an alternative method here.
I want to talk to the applicant now. I just want to let you know that we are one member shy tonight, okay? If we vote, it requires 4 people to vote and approve it. Your chances are less with only 6 people here. I will give you the option of us not calling a vote tonight, postponing it, and till we have a full board. That would entail you coming back. But it would, out of 7 people, are you more likely to get 4 than out of 6? Well, I'll give you that for a minute because Roseanne wants to ask a question.
For legal, now, when voting, are you voting 2 separate issues or the variance is one? Because there's a use issue and then there's a parking space issue.
No, the use issue is with the
I know, but
planning
it's listed.
commission.
Is that correct?
There's 2 variances. There's
Today, before us.
right.
The use.
Well, it's not a use variance. It's a dimensional variance because what the ordinance says is that with what they want to do here, it cannot be done within 100 feet of residential. Right. And Lauren touched on that.
Earlier with me today.
Right. So yeah, you have 2 variances that you're voting on today. Yeah.
And one more question for Tom. So between what he shows as a deficit currently on his own is 43, and then there's an additional, by your numbers, and I know you said you didn't know if they were completely accurate, of 25 between the other businesses on the adjacent property, so a 68 parking space deficit.
Well, he would not be responsible if there's a deficit on the
On the other
Signature
side,
Square.
correct. I get that. He's not responsible, he's only responsible for his 43 on his side.
Correct. And another way this board could also approach this is, since the applicant said he intends to have, 80 to 100 people, you could, instead of the 198 maximum occupancy, condition it lower, and the variance would be lesser because of that, in this sense. So, if it was 100 people, it would require, 34 spaces. So the deficit's 11 rather than 43.
I probably think it would be, if the applicant had any chance of prevailing where I'm concerned, because taking that into consideration, he'd have to reduce his total load of occupancy, and then how do you control that? Even if
That's-
you were willing to do
Yeah.
that.
I mean, and that's sort of a question for all maximum occupancies, truthfully, no matter what they sit at, but, the fire marshal is able to, stop in and check that.
And if parking is a problem, Juan Blanco's handled that. Juan Blanco's people were parking into the bike shop and
They got towed.
they got towed. You call the police and you have them towed away.
Yeah, so I mean, I think with all shared parking lots, it is kind of a double-edged sword where it does kind of go both ways as well.
Okay, sir, back to you.
I know we're supposed to. Sorry.
Before Ed comes out the door.
Would this also postpone the next, the special land use that we were supposed to have next month?
I would say that you probably wouldn't want to move forward with that until the parking, but how long does it take to record a parking? Because you have to review it and then might be quite a significant length of time.
Is there any statute that prohibits him from moving forward with the special land use?
No, but I think it might be very frustrating to pay the fee and do all the site plan and come before the planning commission, get approval, and then something falls through with that process or the variance, and then it doesn't even matter, because I'm sure, I can't speak for planning commission. I would guess that, it'd be conditioned on obtaining a variance or shared parking, though.
I don't think they would entertain it unless the variance was there. So,
But that would preclude him from postponing to get a little bit more time to get this agreement in place or get it legally drawn up,
I mean,
and get another board member back and seated.
I understand the concern about, parking agreements, and I understand the context behind it as well. I do think requiring the applicant to have that filed before proceeding would create a burden on, the business and opening,
okay. Mr. Chimenti.
All in all, when do you plan to open this establishment?
I mean, I'm not in any hurry to open. I'd like to be open in July to get ready for the winter, which the winter is the busy season. As far as promoting leagues, and I can't promote anything unless I'm open.
I can't speak for nobody but me, but I am not inclined to vote in favor without the parking agreement with the attorney in the format that they wanted.
Do you
So
need?
that-
Sorry. Go ahead.
So that means that out of the 6 people, you now have essentially 5 people if I were to vote.
Will you be requiring it to be recorded?
No.
Before, okay,
The attorney advised me not to.
okay.
And I always follow what the attorney says.
And I will, I will say, the process of recording doesn't take very long at all. It's just, I wouldn't want to go out of order, if you know what I mean.
All right, fine. So choice is yours, sir.
I would like to postpone it. I think that would be the,
I'd like to make a motion to
Hold on, please. I have, yes, Scott.
Thanks. Jonathan, what was the rationale on reducing your max capacity to 198?
the fact that I'm never going to have 250 people in there, in the building. The number is based off of square footage. I couldn't have, I couldn't allow that many people in there because I have, everything's based off a reservation. It just doesn't make sense with the reservations and with the number of bays and the number of holes. 250 people is just an outrageous number. But that's based off of the math, basically math in the square footage.
Okay. And the number of parking spots is based off of that number. So I'll kind of leave it up to you to decide what you actually think your max would be, because you can kind of hear everybody else saying,
Scott?
you really need more.
I listen to the planner when it comes to max.
Okay.
It is based, so for this use, it is based on that occupancy, though. So if that changes, it's not like many of the other uses, square footage. So if this was a retail, for example, with the square footage it has, it would need, 72 spaces. So.
Okay. All right. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to postpone. Do we need a date certain? Or the next meeting, what do we,
Is this for both variances?
Yes.
Okay.
no, let's just do them together. Be cleaner.
I don't believe you need a date. I believe you can just postpone it to when the applicant is ready to come back before ZBA, is how I believe we've done it in the past.
But I want to make sure that our attorneys get on this and, push it through so that, we want to give him a chance to get what he needs in too.
Yeah, I think just a point of, just from myself personally, I think he's already got the documents. I mean, when we were reviewing all this, I wasn't quite sure, where he was at with it. Is it a thing where it's like, oh, I've talked to the other property owner and, maybe they'll let me do it, maybe they won't. He's already got stuff drafted. So, I can't make any guarantees, but at least he's that far along. So, from a timing perspective,
How about if we
helps.
postpone it until our next ZBA meeting?
Would he have to come back if it wasn't in a form the attorneys are happy with?
Well, if it's not, if it's not
form.
adequate, then it'd probably be his best his interest to send it back to him, have him get it agreeable with the attorneys. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the attorneys, for them to decide if that meets their standard. So if it takes longer, it takes longer. Right? Is that the question you're asking me?
I was just asking if, since you said postpone to the next meeting, if he'd still have to come based on that motion if it wasn't.
Yes, because we're not voting on the variance now until,
No, he would not have to come if they're not ready.
Okay.
And we could,
Yep.
yes, if we had no other business, we would not have a meeting.
So you would put it on the agenda for next meeting, and if he wasn't here, if we let you guys know, hey, we're still working on it, then you would just postpone it again at the next meeting, is what you're saying?
yes.
Okay.
We would cancel the meeting.
Or Lauren could just call us and tell us it's not ready and we don't have a meeting, right?
I do enjoy canceling meetings.
Well, we don't have to notice again.
No, you don't have to notice
So
again.
that's not an issue.
So yeah, that is the big concern with.
So if we don't,
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
A second.
Okay. Mr. Clerk? Call the roll.
Burley is absent. Clemente?
Yes.
Farina?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Menendez? Stasic?
Yes.
Wall?
Yes.
We are postponed.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure that Alex will take care of you. Tell you what you need. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Unfinished business, there is none. Monthly report.
Sure. Thank you. So that multiplex development, the duplexes on Utica Road, the applicant at the February meeting received an extension for 1 year from the Planning Commission, so he's got another year for that site plan. The strip mall that was approved in beginning of '25, is no longer seeking to develop that as a strip mall, so he's kind of looking for alternative options for developing that lot. Hayes Road, that was a rezoning for site condos. The applicant is currently in the process of creating a site plan. Once he's hired engineering or surveying or architecture firm to do that, he'll be coming back before Planning Commission for site plan approval. And then at the February meeting, Planning Commission approved the special land use for Midway Eats, so they are now allowed to be open 24 hours. Planning Commission also approved the facade for Birdies and Brews, which sort of triggered a deeper look into occupancy and variance, so that's why the applicant was here tonight. And last night, the Planning Commission also approved Selena's Bar. That's where Shooters used to be, for a new facade, utilizing metal as an exterior building material. And this variance tonight, both of these were postponed, so I believe that is it. Would you like me to discuss the zoning ordinance, Mr. Farina?
I have,
Do you want to be recognized? No, okay. I was going to offer if anybody wanted to speak from the audience after you were done. but
I scared them
Having
away.
seen
Yeah.
no one there, we'll move on. No, Roseanne, you had a question.
on the Utica duplexes, was that the one that was up in the air where they were going to build and then they didn't? Is that the one that's in that long parcel?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, and he still has
That
it.
sign was off, now it's back.
Yeah, I think essentially
He wants to sell it.
he's gonna try to sell it, and whoever buys it would have to develop it consistent with the site plan or get a new site plan.
So if they were a new person were to develop it according to the site plan, the variance would stay with the,
Correct.
if he did it with the same site plan,
Correct. Yeah, variances run with the land typically.
providing they don't change use, right? I thought somebody said if they change.
Special land use runs with the land unless the use, but variances I'd have to double check on if there's a condition that nullifies them besides
Well, we're not
just
there right now, so we
expiration.
don't have to worry about it, right?
Okay, action items update. There are none. Bob, do you have any action items you want us to take?
No.
Okay. I wanted to tell you that there was a steering team meeting on Monday, and I thought it's one of the best meetings I have been to since I've been on any board with the city. We talked about a number of items on how to help the city, how to help the building department, and we recommended some changes to certain things we're doing that we think will help code enforcement and what they're doing and get things done quicker and less court time involved, which is a big draw on you and big draw on the attorneys too. So we also talked about the new zoning ordinance, and I'm going to let our able-bodied city planner talk about that.
Thank you. So, as Mr. Farina mentioned with the steering committee, we went through, reviewed the draft ordinance that was not approved, but, the planning commission okayed to kind of move on. So the planning commission went through article by article for certain residential, industrial, commercial use standards and also general standards. Once that was good to go, steering committee met, provided some additional kind of comments that Frank mentioned, and so it went before planning commission last night. Couple more minor edits, but planning commission is ready to hold the public hearing
April 1st.
April 1st. So if that is of interest to you, which it probably should be, please, feel free to attend that meeting or watch it online. But it will entail a presentation on kind of what a zoning ordinance is and why you update it and why we've been updating ours so that, the public who attend can be a little more informed before kind of going over at a high level the changes. From there, the attorney's office and my office will be coordinating on a final draft for council review. We are anticipating this go before council for adoption June 11th. I'm going to knock on wood because we've come a long way and I don't want to jinx anything. Before that, we also are planning to send out letters to people who zoning is going to be changed. So I would anticipate getting some folks in just because they're confused or concerned at that public hearing. But, as a measure of transparency, we're trying to provide that for residents. I believe that's it on the zoning ordinance. Would you like me to talk about the House bills?
Well, I did want to, there were like minor tweaks that we did to the zoning map in the end.
Yes.
We all got a copy of that, but that's going to change.
Correct. So that rezoning on Hayes Road, there's some parcels, about 12 parcels around it that are currently RL that steering committee and planning commission agreed should change to RM to kind of get ahead of the future development of that area. It's surrounded by those RM properties, and it would allow them to subdivide. And it's not going to create any nonconformities.
Okay. Emma?
With regard to the sample letter that you sent, do you think that there would be any benefit to, like, breaking down or providing a glossary? Because, I mean, for the people that are rezoned, like, from RH to CBD, I feel like when you include abbreviations, it breeds confusion. So I'm wondering if we could be more specific in those letters to people that are getting rezoned.
Is specific as in like the full district name or
Yeah.
like a description of the district? Or?
Yeah, or like, include like a glossary term somewhere in the letter or as like a separate page in the back, just something like that.
Well, you have the terms defined in the ordinance.
Yeah, the terms, I'd have to see what the letter terms were, but yeah, I can put the intent statements of the districts or,
I think she's referencing the noticing, right?
Yes, the
She's
noticing.
referencing the note when she sends it, because the people won't know, some people won't
Know what
not
RH or
necessarily know
CBD
what
is,
what
yeah,
zone they're in,
Yeah.
what it means.
yeah.
yeah, I think I can add a column in Excel because I'm mail merging these. I'm not going to be,
Okay.
but if I can add a column that
If it's
responds and it should be
easy.
able to.
If it's something that we can be more clear about proactively, that seems better.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, Planning Commission Liaison, that's me. We had a Planning Commission meeting last night. There was one site plan, and that's for a facade change for the old Shooters Bar. And I think it's a remarkable, nice, I'll show it to you guys.
Oh, yeah, that's an upgrade. That's pretty. That's nice.
Right, the only problem is it's just for the shooters, the bar portion, the rest of the, it's called.
Still the old.
The strip is not not adopted it. But
Probably looks like the one in Madison Heights on 11 Mile Road. 'cause
Yes,
he owns that
yes.
house.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay. Public to be heard. I think we're clear on that point. Okay. Bob, do you want to say anything?
Problems or questions or with anything, just please feel free to give me a call.
I have one for Bob. CVS, what's the scoop with it? Any complaints on it or anything?
I talked to the owner of the property, and he has oh my God.
Sir.
I did talk to the owner of the property. He does have a 6.5-year lease still with CVS. They are liable to keep the lights on, grass cut, snow plowed, things like that. So he's pretty much guaranteed 6.5 years of rent. So unless CVS does sublease it out to somebody, it's going to stay vacant for 6.5 years.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
Okey-doke. Scott, do you have anything?
Nope, nothing.
Mr. Green? Mr. Attorney? You have anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Lauren?
Would you like me to talk about the House bills?
Okay.
Well, I think everyone's aware. I sent an email from MML that Mr. Schlag emailed me. But just so everyone's aware, some legislation's kind of being discussed. It's not out for a vote or anything like that. It's probably, quite a bit away from that, but it's good to stay informed. And so our bills are part of a larger package that includes a lot of different proposals and some aimed towards increasing housing. But how they're trying to do that is by preempting certain zoning requirements, such as allowing accessory dwelling units by right, duplexes by right, manufactured housing or mobile homes in single family districts on a lot. In making the minimum lot size, the maximum minimum, sorry, it gets kind of confusing how you word it, maximum minimum lot size 1,500 square feet, which is, fairly small, as well as minimum floor area 500 feet. So all things that kind of can go above local zoning, take away local zoning control, certainly something that, on a personal side, I don't think it should be left to the communities. So invite you to reach out to your representatives. I know Kathy on the Planning Commission said she already did and got a response, so that's encouraging. But something to stay aware of. Michigan Municipal League has come out against it. SEMCOG's come out against it. Michigan Townships as well. Michigan Association Planning more for it, but just something wanted to keep everyone aware of. Any questions?
Your thoughts on it?
Oh, I don't like it.
1,500 square.
It's not an imminent thing, so don't,
Yeah, it's not anything to panic about, but it's good to stay aware of what's going on and what's being proposed. It's very likely, with all the pushback especially, that it's not going to get introduced like that. It's going to be amended several times before it ever reaches the floor.
Is it still in committee right now?
It hasn't even had its first hearing scheduled yet.
So nothing?
it's just a marked up bill.
Something that everyone's getting real
Just exists.
nervous about and talking about because it's been put out there. But yeah, a lot of those organizations, I think MML included, also have template letters if you feel inclined to send those.
Okay. August?
Say it with me, Frank. Gitch lag. Gitch lag. That's all.
Okay. Mr. Chimenti?
Oh, yes. On March 22nd, from 2 to 6, at the John F. Kennedy Knights of Columbus, we're having an Italian dinner. We're flying the chef in from Italy, and should be a good time. Thank you.
Member Menendez.
I'm all good.
Okay, I just wanted to mention that St. Malachy's is having the fish fries We had WXYZ out, and they mentioned us as probably the best fish fry in the area, so. if you
I would
get a
second
chance-
that.
That we work hard at it. But anyway, that's all I have. Thank you for all of your commitments. It seems like since COVID, everything has been a little contentious, and I appreciate you guys all hanging in there with us. I do have one question for you, Bob. The junkyard that is not supposed to be a junkyard, but is a junkyard, where do we stand with that?
I'm in court with them right now,
Okay.
and I was supposed to have a jury trial with them the beginning of last month, and it got postponed until this month. I'm the one who postponed it, so.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, thank you, and thanks for coming. We appreciate it. All right. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
We are adjourned.